Hi, everybody. Karen Roby here with Tiernan and Ray for ZDNet. Companies are using AI for so many different reasons and all kinds of different platforms. Tiernan, we talk about AI a lot here, and you write specifically about it a lot as well. A particular company in Chicago, however, caught your attention. So I want you to tell us a little bit about it and why it was important enough to do a story about them.
Karen, Narrative Science is about a decade old. They're a privately held company, software maker in Chicago. And they were actually featured in the New Yorker earlier this year, kind of as an AI company, which is a designation they were not entirely happy with because they're not into the latest, craziest AI such as developed by DeepMind at Google, things like AlphaGo. They're really developing software programs that try to help people with very practical business needs. And so in an attempt to get beyond some of the hype, we had a conversation with Narrative Science, in particular, their sort of chief technologist, a guy named Nate Nichols, who's computer science, and asked him to explain to us how exactly does this software work.
So talk about that a little bit about the software. Is that, when we mean AI, how that fits into what they're doing?
So, Karen, most people who think about AI think about robots or maybe something like Google's BERT model for producing random strings of text, which most people know are kind of inane, or things like chatbots. What Narrative Science has done is they've spent years developing a system that's called an ontology, which is basically a database that can store information about a company. So for example, if you and I are selling aluminum siding and we have a manager who wants to see how are we doing, the database that Narrative Science creates can store information about the product, aluminum siding, can store information about us as sales reps, about our prospective customers, and then using some carefully crafted language tools, which they spent years refining, they can generate sensible English language sentences that are grounded in the information in that ontology. So if the manager wants to know how are sales doing, the database can produce an answer, a full English language sentence or paragraph, such as Karen's doing really great. She crushed it this quarter. She zoomed ahead of Tiernan in her sales, and she's more than doubled her own sales since the year ago quarter. So they're trying to produce full English language sentences that are grounded in a database of information. It's totally different from these deep learning language models that just kind of predict the next word in tons and tons of gigabytes of text. It's kind of a craft industry. And the technologist, Nate Nichols, said to me, he said, my mom was an English language teacher in high school, and she had to look at these kinds of charts and see how her students were doing each week, each semester. And he said, I would have loved if she could have had a tool like this to tell her, Johnny's falling behind in some of his reading skills, and he needs help here, he needs help there. So kind of a Midwest Chicago attitude. Don't do fancy deep learning projects. Do real practical, finely crafted software that brings some intelligence of its developers to how to understand a problem, like a practical problem of business.
That's really interesting, Tiernan, and it sounds like or I should ask you how they feel about the attention. When talking to them and the other publication you mentioned. Is this something that they are excited about or expected with what they're doing?
I think there's no such thing as bad publicity, Karen. So when you get lumped into the AI basket, it can only be good for you. But I also think that they appreciated that ZDNet took the time to talk with them about how the software is made and what the distinctions are, so that people can understand a little bit better that they put a lot of time and care into understanding the problem of language as it's used in context, and understanding how to ground it in something real.
Yeah, very good. All right, Tiernan. Well, great article. We appreciate it very much. And if you'd like to read the full article there from Tiernan, make sure you check out ZDNet. Thanks for watching.